Hi, my name's Wolf Ovens. You might have heard of my more successful cousin Bear Grylls, but this is my wilderness survival show. Now you won't believe this, but I've just spotted a very rare land shark. This will provide me sustenance for days. Let's go get it. Oh my goodness, even rare, a baby land shark. Being lost in the wilderness can obviously be a scary thing. In Matthew chapter 4, Jesus goes out into the wilderness and he faces temptation. And I think if we pay close attention to that story, we can gain some valuable wilderness survival techniques for ourselves. A couple months ago, I was hiking with the youth in Enchanted Rock, and there's a cave I wanted to take them to. And I knew where it was, generally speaking. And so we started going down this trail down the back of Enchanted Rock. And I became less and less certain that this indeed was a trail. But I turned around and there was some group of people following us. I'm like, oh, okay, they're on this trail too, so they obviously know where we're going. But it quickly became clear that this was not a trail, and I did not know where I was going. We faced a cliff that just dropped off with nowhere to go, and we were dead-ended. And I turned around and saw the best illustration of the blind following the blind I've ever seen. Oftentimes when we're lost, it's tempting to just follow the first voice or person that we see that's saying, hey, if you do these steps, you'll find success, or this is the way to peace. But oftentimes, like me, leading those people to a cliff at the back of the park, have no clue what they're doing or where they're going either. And so when Jesus faced temptation in the wilderness, what did he turn to? He turned to the Word of God, because Psalm says that your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. So the first step to getting out of the wilderness is finding direction. And Jesus shows us that that direction is found in the Word of God. Now, after you've found direction, the second and third most important things that you're going to need if you're to survive in the wilderness is water and food. And luckily, Jesus provides that too. He says that, hey, I am the living water and that I am the bread of life. In John chapter 6, Jesus had just got done preaching that he is the bread of life. And up to this point, he'd become a really popular teacher with a huge following. But this marked a turning point in his ministry as people started to follow away, telling them that he was the bread of life and that the only way to heaven was through Jesus and that he is part of the Godhead. That was too much for a lot of these people to listen to. And so they fled. And it became a really kind of dark, depressing moment for Jesus and the disciples. And Jesus turns to Peter and the rest of the disciples and says, hey, are y'all going to leave me now too? And Peter's response has always really resonated with me. What he says is, hey, Lord, to where else will we go? You see, Peter doesn't say that, hey, this isn't our time, this is great. Peter acknowledges that this is tough. But in that tough time, he clings to what he knows is true, and that's Jesus. So as we're going through tough times, as we're feeling lost in the wilderness, my encouragement is that, A, you hold on to the Word of God and you follow it, and that you cling to Jesus. Now, if you're like me, you might say, that sounds really cliche, and I get that. But I'm going to tell you this. In the biggest wildernesses of my life, when I felt the most lost, the most beat down, when Jesus was the only thing I felt like I could cling on to, those are the moments in which God grew me the most. And it is okay to take before God your doubts and your fears. He is big enough to handle them.